You're listening to a production of the National Media Archive. To learn more or volunteer, go to nationalmediaarchive.com.
Have you ever noticed how sometimes the less you care, the more you achieve? This question might stir up curiosity and a bit of doubt too. It goes against what most of us are taught, that we should pour our whole heart into everything we do. But what if there's a subtle secret hidden in this idea? A secret that could completely change how you handle your goals, your relationships, and the challenges life throws at you. Let's unpack this together. First, when we say care less, we don't mean you should stop feeling or stop trying. It's not about apathy or shutting down emotionally, far from it. It's about choosing wisely where you spend your emotions and energy. Think of your mental energy like a currency. Every day, life throws all kinds of demands and people your way, each one trying to claim a piece of it. The real question is, where do you want to spend it? This idea asks us to find a healthier balance in how we interact with the world. It's about knowing the difference between what truly deserves our full heart and what doesn't. By being more selective about where we invest our emotions, we protect our energy for the things that matter most. And when we do that, we actually become more productive, feel more fulfilled, and connect more deeply with what really enriches our lives. So let's clear this up again. Caring less doesn't mean living without passion or commitment. It doesn't mean ignoring other people's feelings or your own. It's not about avoiding responsibilities or becoming cold. It's really about having a steadier mind when life feels chaotic and unpredictable. It's about building emotional resilience so you can ride life's ups and downs without losing your sense of calm. Think about all the times you've worried about things you couldn't control. Maybe it was a project at work, a relationship that felt shaky, or the endless headlines of crisis and bad news. Getting tangled up in all of that can drain you fast. It wears you down and makes you less effective and, ironically, less happy too. So how do we handle this better? The answer is learning to step back from all that noise. It's figuring out what you can control and what you can't. It's not that you stop caring about the world or stop aiming high, you still care deeply. But you do it from a place of inner calm, knowing that your worth isn't tied to outcomes or what others think. When you care less about the stuff that drains you, you create space for the people and goals that matter most. You get more focus, more clarity, and more energy to pour into the things that really deserve it. And that might just lead to deeper success, not just at work, but in your relationships and your sense of peace. This might sound simple, but it has big implications. It asks us to rethink how we usually move through the world. It invites us to live in a way that brings more achievement, more satisfaction, and more well-being. So let's go deeper into this idea, where it comes from, why it works, and how you can use it in real life to live a more balanced and rewarding life. Freedom is the only goal worth having, and it's won by ignoring what's out of your control. These words come from the ancient Stoic thinkers, and they capture the core of what many people have leaned on for centuries: the power of detachment. Detachment shows up in the writings of Marcus Aurelius, in the calm teachings of Buddhism, and in the flow of Taoism too. Each offers us a map for dealing with life's twists and turns, not by clinging to some fixed outcome, but by teaching us how to stay steady inside and focus on what we can actually shape. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, left behind notes to himself that remind us of this all the time. Stoicism teaches that we can't control what happens around us, but we can control how we react. Marcus wrote about examining every event for what it really is without adding extra emotion or judgment. That clears away the clutter so we can save our energy for what really counts: our thoughts, our actions, and what we do for the common good. Buddhism adds another layer. It teaches that clinging to our cravings makes us suffer, because what we crave never stays the same. Whether it's money, success, or praise, those things are always shifting. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, Buddhism shows us how to see our wants without letting them trap us. We can enjoy life more deeply without getting stuck in a cycle of wanting more and never feeling satisfied. This doesn't mean giving up all the good things life offers. It means seeing them clearly, appreciating them, and letting them pass when they need to without fear. Taoism too has its own take. It talks about living in harmony with the flow of things, the Tao. It values something called Wu Wei, which translates loosely to non-action. But it's not about doing nothing. It's about acting in a way that goes with the natural rhythm of things. You don't push against the world, you move with it, understanding that life is full of change and fighting that only brings struggle. All these ideas, though ancient, give us powerful tools for modern life. Today's world moves fast. Social media makes us compare ourselves endlessly and chase likes and approval. Detachment offers a calm way through all that. It doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop letting things outside of you dictate your peace. When you practice detachment like the Stoics, Buddhists, and Taoists teach, you actually show up more fully for your life. You spend less time worrying about stuff you can't change. You spend more time acting on what you can. You focus on your character, your values, and what you bring to the world. That kind of success isn't measured by trophies or followers, it's measured by the depth of your life and the calm inside you. And that is what caring less, in the truest sense, is really all about. Let's look closer at how this idea of caring less connects to how we grow up and handle our relationships. There's a concept called attachment theory. It was shaped by a psychologist named John Bowlby and later expanded by Mary Ainsworth. It helps explain how the bonds we form as Barbies shape how we connect to people and handle stress as adults. The basics go like this. The way a child bonds with their caregiver leaves a deep mark on how they trust, love, and cope later in life. Researchers group these early patterns into types: secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. Each one shows how a person feels about closeness, trust, and whether they expect people to be there for them or not. This really matters when we talk about healthy detachment. See, there's a difference between real, balanced detachment and unhealthy avoidance that comes from old wounds. Healthy detachment isn't about shutting people out. It's about staying steady when life or relationships get messy. It's about being able to feel for others without losing yourself in their storms. People who know how to do this can stay involved without drowning in everyone else's problems. They can care deeply, but not let that care destroy their peace of mind, and science backs this up. Studies show that folks who can detach in a healthy way from work stress, for example, burn out less. They feel better overall, their minds stay clearer, and they solve problems better because they're not overwhelmed by tangled emotions. In other words, learning to step back when needed gives you space to breathe. You think more clearly. You handle conflict better. You protect your energy for the things that really need it. This kind of detachment doesn't harden you. It actually makes you stronger and more flexible. You still feel things, but you're not a leaf blown around by every gust of emotion or worry. And in a world where we're hit by news and noise every second, this kind of inner steadiness is priceless. When you know how to step back emotionally, you're more likely to stay calm when things go wrong. You bounce back quicker from setbacks. You handle uncertainty with more grace because you know your core can't be shaken so easily. And you keep showing up for your work, for your people, without burning yourself out. Of course, our ability to detach in a healthy way starts with how we learned to trust when we were small. But the good news is you can grow and change this at any age. Therapy helps, mindfulness helps, honest self-reflection helps too. The steps are simple but powerful. Notice when you're getting pulled too deep. Check in with how you feel. Practice letting go of things you can't fix right now. Learn where you end and someone else begins. Take breaks to clear your mind. And build habits that refill your cup, whether that's quiet time, hobbies, exercise, or just saying no sometimes. When you do this, you teach your brain that you can stay connected and stay balanced. That's the sweet spot. Not cutting people off, but not carrying the whole world alone either. Healthy detachment is like a muscle. You strengthen it by practicing. You notice when old habits pull you into needless worry. You pause, you breathe. You remind yourself what you can control: your words, your actions, your kindness, your boundaries, and you let the rest be. So how do we turn this idea into daily life? Start with small steps. Maybe you set a boundary at work. You don't check emails after a certain hour. Or you learn to say, I can't help with this right now. Maybe you practice catching yourself when you spiral into worries about what others think. Each small act is like a brick in the foundation of your calm. And remember, detachment isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming clear. You're not building a wall, you're building a stronger core. A core that lets you show up for life's best parts with more energy, more love, and a steadier heart. This balance, feeling deeply but wisely, caring but not clinging, is how you protect your peace while staying connected to what really matters. It's how you avoid pouring all your energy into black holes of worry or drama that don't deserve it. And it's how you make space for the people and projects that lift you up instead of draining you dry. So keep this thought close. True strength isn't about carrying more weight. it's about knowing when to set it down. Let's take this one step further. Putting detachment into practice means learning some everyday habits that protect your peace. These habits don't shut you off from the world, they help you stay open without being overrun. One key habit is setting clear boundaries. Boundaries are how you draw the line between what's yours to handle and what is. They remind you where you end and someone else begins. They protect your time, your energy, and your mental space. Boundaries can be as simple as deciding when to stop working for the day, or telling someone kindly but firmly that you can't take on more than you already have. They can be as deep as rethinking a relationship that drains you more than it feeds you. Another habit is focusing on your own growth. This is about shifting some of that energy you used to spend worrying about outcomes, people's opinions, or things you can't control and putting it back into yourself. It could be learning a new skill, taking up a hobby, or just giving yourself permission to rest and recharge. Investing in yourself builds your confidence from the inside out. It makes you less hungry for external approval because you trust your own worth. Then there's the habit of accepting change. This one can be hard, but when you embrace the truth that nothing stays the same forever, you loosen your grip on what you can't hold anyway. You stop fighting the natural flow of life and start moving with it. This makes you stronger, not weaker. Mindfulness helps here, noticing your thoughts without clinging to them, noticing your fears without letting them control you. Gratitude helps too, seeing what's good right now, even if it won't last. Another important piece is remembering that detachment isn't isolation. People need people. Connection gives life depth and color, but staying connected without drowning in other people's problems takes practice. It means being compassionate without losing yourself. It means listening, helping, caring, but knowing you can't fix everything. It means loving people without making their storms your own. To keep that balance, compassion is key. Compassion for others lets you show up with kindness. Compassion for yourself reminds you to rest, to pause, to forgive your mistakes. They work together. One without the other leads to burnout or coldness. Both together keep your heart strong and your spirit steady. You also need to accept that not every problem is yours to solve. Some things are beyond your control, no matter how much you care. Accepting this truth gives you freedom. It frees you to show up with your best effort and let the rest go. You engage with life, with people, with your goals, but you release the grip on the outcome. In the end, all of this comes down to balance. Balance between caring deeply and caring wisely. Between holding close what matters and letting go of what doesn't. Between showing up for others and showing up for yourself. This balance is something the great thinkers of the past knew well. Take Seneca, a Stoic who lived through chaos and power struggles but held fast to his calm. His writings remind us that life is short, unpredictable, and precious. That true freedom is found inside us, not in chasing things we can't hold. Or Laozi, the ancient Taoist sage, who taught that the strongest life flows with the world instead of pushing against it. He showed how softness and flexibility are real power, and that letting go is not weakness but wisdom. And Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, who ruled through wars and plagues yet kept his mind clear. His journals teach us that peace comes not from controlling the world but from mastering ourselves. Their voices echo across time, reminding us that life's messiness can't be tamed but our minds can. That letting go of the uncontrollable frees us to focus on what we can shape, our choices, our actions, our character. So pause and think, what might happen if you loosened your grip on all the noise that wears you out? What might open up if you saved that energy for what truly lifts you? Who might you become if you trusted yourself enough to let go? The power in caring less is not that you stop caring, it's that you care more deeply about fewer things with a steadier heart. You gain room to breathe, to grow, to love, to live. You find freedom not because the world changes, but because you do. So hold this close, your greatest peace will never come from controlling life's chaos, but from learning to stand calm within it. Open your hands, let go of what weighs you down, hold close what lifts you up. That is how you care less and live more.